Hey guys, Keith here, 2Guys How2s, and I do a lot of gardening. I'm not an expert, but I've been doing enough because we've got plenty of property here where we grow all of our own stuff. So what I want to do today is just show you what I do as far as taking soil, getting the soil ready, getting the pots ready. We've got a bunch of little pots, and I've planted a ton of stuff already, but I had a little bit more of these spring tomato seeds here, and I just want to show you how I get everything started. And before you even get started, on the back of all these seeds, whether you keep them yourself and dry them out, you want to do a little research on how deep to plant them, when to plant them, what time of the year, how to space them apart, how far in inches they need to be spaced out. And on these particular tomatoes, you only want to bury them about 1/4 inch deep, so it's not very deep. I mean, if you go too deep, they're not going to sprout out. So let's get started first with just my soil mix. I take a bunch of peat moss, and I've got some other kind of manure and soils in here that we have from the animals. So as I bring it up, we age it, kind of turn it, bring it down. Also, I always save my old eggshells. I dry them out on the counter, crunch them up, and we're going to put those right down in the soil. You want them nice and dry because you don't want them to get moldy or get get any bacteria in there. The drier the better. Sometimes if you're going to hurry up, they're going to be a little bit slimy or whatever, but I usually get them real nice and dry, and I save my old coffee grounds, and we're just going to pour them in their soil too. And we're just gonna mix this up and just get dirty with it. I don't have gloves on, and generally I don't wear gloves. I just get down and dirty and get raw with it, and that way I can feel the rocks and different things that might be in there that I don't want in the soil. So this soil, we had a bunch of rain. Normally the soil would be drier, but it's a little wet now, but that's fine. We're gonna get these pots ready, and I just use these little square. They're about a 4x4 by maybe a 4-inch deep. We're gonna go ahead and just load some of that soil in there. Normally it would be a lot drier, but right now, since the rain, it is a little bit muddy, but that's fine. I'm gonna sow the seeds down in there just fine. And we're gonna fill up as many of these as you want. I've got a vacancy in a tray over there that'll hold 5, so I'm gonna do 5. And we're gonna hurry up and just get these in here. And I'll show you exactly how we can plant this, at least get one of them going, so we can move on to the other vegetables that I have already that have came up. So basically you get that soil down there. You don't want to overfill it, because as you water it over time, it's going to settle down, and if you water it too much, the seeds are going to lift up and just pour off. So basically, if we just make a little indentation, no more than 1/4 inch deep on these tomato seeds. And we're gonna get these spring tomatoes here. And I'm gonna run a few of them out here. And let me adjust this so you guys can see exactly what's going on here. I'm gonna run all 4 or all 5 of these here because I got a spot for 5 of them. I was gonna do 4, but looks like there's enough room in there for 5. And we're just gonna tuck this down in here. Like I said, it's a little bit nasty mud today, but that's fine. That way I don't have to water them as much. And I'm just gonna make a little indentation in the middle. Okay, we're gonna just put these seeds down. I had to get a new pack of seeds, but I made my little 1/4 inch indentation in the middle here, and we're just gonna pour a few of those in. I usually put 3 or 4 per hole. Usually I'll do a couple, but these I'm gonna grow right out of the middle. That way, if some of the seeds don't come out, there's always a chance if you put 3 or 4 per hole, they're definitely gonna pop up. So we're gonna get that. These are a spring Oregon seed. And we're just gonna take a little bit of soil just on top of that. Not much at all. If you put too much, those seeds will not pop back out. So once we get those tucked in and lightly pack those down, not too much, but you do want the seeds covered. And I make labels. I take the old egg cartons and I rip the tops off if you have any of these clear ones, and I cut them up into strips, very similar to this here. And on those strips, and I cut a little point on the bottom, and I can bring it in a little closer to show you. I cut a point, and then I can write on these with my marker, just as I did here. I keep a marker, I keep a little rubber banded pack of these. And on this one here, I've got one pre-labeled already, but I'm gonna label this one here. Whatever it says on here. This pack says Oregon Spring tomatoes. I'm gonna write on there Oregon Spring. That way in a couple months you won't be forgetting what it is. And that's a done deal there. And I'm gonna just take this and put it right down in the soil here, and that labels it. And after the video, I'm gonna label them all. I'm gonna put them in. And basically we're just gonna take these and put them right into our tray here. And I'm gonna move this up some just so you can see me over here with the other tray. We're gonna take these and plop them right in here. That sets them up to where I remember what they are. Even if I don't label all 5 of them, I know they're in that row, and that whole row contains 5 of the Oregon Spring tomatoes. And if it wasn't wet out, I would water these right away. And I'm gonna show you guys what I do with the old the egg cartons I mentioned. I'm gonna show you how to cut some strips out so you can do labeling. A lot of people just throw these out. I recycle them, but and I got hip to, well, let's go ahead and just cut these edges here. I cut up the edges. You can see how the container, I cut that, and then I open this thing up and just one big flat. Well, I'm not gonna use these ends. I use these ends if I absolutely run out of other tags. I will save them, but right now we've got plenty of good straight tags. I'd rather have longer cuts. And I'll just cut this up the side and save that. Those I use last. They're a little bit more harder to write on because they've got some indentations on them from giving structure to the actual carton. But I'll run that like that, and then that leaves you a nice flat, clean square out of the top of that egg carton that you were gonna throw out. And I just measure over, you know, I give or take, I might do 3/4 of an inch, and I just go up, run these strips, and they're plastic. These can sit outside, they won't rot. If you use a Sharpie magic marker, the writing will stay on there. And usually I'll do about 4 strips. We got 2 already. And then I'm gonna grab this one, last one, cut it up the middle. That way you can label all your stuff and figure it out. And basically what I do is I cut these into just a point, you know, like an arrow point. Flip them around, you get that going like that. And I'm only gonna show you 2, you get the idea. You can make as many as you want out of those egg cartons instead of just throwing them away. And then I just line them up in the middle. You got points on both ends. And I'll just cut them right down the middle. I'll hold them together, cut that, and off of those 2 strips, I got 4 strips total, I got a bunch of different label markers, and these won't rot. Like I said, we just did, the Oregon Spring tomato, so I'm gonna fill out a couple more of those. OS Spring, I'll do O Spring tomato, and I'll remember what they are because I keep all my packaging. And let's put those down in the dirt. I'm not going to do them all right now because I don't want to bore you. So we'll go ahead and put these in the soil over here with these other tomatoes here. And that's my little list that I got going on. I got one already here, and we'll just keep plopping these in. And actually I'll make another 2 real quick. That way they're all labeled. If you hesitate and you wait later, 9 times out of 10 you won't remember what it is. So I'm just going to go ahead and put these down in there real quick. And I know this whole strip is Oregon Spring tomatoes, excuse me. So let me take this camera out of here real fast. And you can see what I've got going on. That's the strip we just did there of the Oregon Spring tomatoes. And if you go down the line, you can read all these. These are what look like a jalapeno. And we've got some Roma tomatoes here. We've got some other different tomatoes. This is actually different. This is a different tomato, a cherry popper tomato. And if you just go down the list, you can see how they're easy to read. That one, my writing's a little messy, but this is a cucumber. You know, this is an acorn squash, and so on and so forth with the butternut squash. But you can see I just have everything out and about, and you can see all of my stuff is started. I've got more over in the other garden. I haven't planted anything yet, but you can see what we have going on. And after those seeds, you get them down in there, make sure you no more than 1/4 inch. Always read the back of the pack. It'll tell you how deep to sow the seed in there. The bigger the seeds, usually they go deeper, about 1 inch, 1.5 inches. And this soil is really wet because it just rained here heavy today and last night, but I'm still gonna pour a little bit of water right around where those seeds are, just to saturate that, and monitor this for the next couple days. Actually, the next few weeks, I'm gonna keep this soil dry. Wet, don't let it dry out. And you don't wanna overwater it. But we're just gonna top these off a little bit. Don't use any fertilizer or anything right now. You'll kill the seed off. So we're gonna move on and show the rest of the sproutings and go over to the garden. The starters here we got going on right next to the house, and I have them next to the house. That way I can water them very easily and monitor them out in the full sun here. Over there, the animals might be able to get them a little bit. You might hesitate on watering. You can't really see how they're going. They're harder to de-weed. So I keep them here, de-weed them, water them, get them to proper height. Then we take them on over to the garden. And you can see here, we're down over in the garden area. You can see where I've kept these old tires. And I've just got runs of tires. And if you add these up, and down inside these tires, we put heavy duty plastic bags, like a Husky trash bag or something you get from Home Depot. These are contractor grade, a heavy millimeter trash bag. We put them down in there, we put the soil in there, and we poke some holes in the bottom using a piece of metal or rebar or some kind of awl, and fill them up with soil, get them going. You can see Stella already has a bunch of, these are different types of potatoes that she's been planting, and we used old potatoes that planted all these. And we got some acorn, not acorn squash, but different eggplants, albino, Ichabod, and some others as well, some string, different sugar snap peas that are started here. But you can see, if you count up all these tires, and it's very easy to weed eat. I'm gonna come out here and cut the grass here. All this is easy to weed eat in a few minutes when I come back out. You got healthy tomato plants that are growing up out of there. And we've got the basil, the different basils here. This one was too big, so I cut it in half and moved it over to the tire next to it. And we've got some fresh rosemary. We've also got some cilantro for your salsas and different foods that you might make with that. And if you count all these up, like this is usually where I'm gonna put my ghost peppers and my Reaper, Carolina Reapers. You add up all of these tires and we're not even done. We might have, I think there's 96 tires here total or something. So between each one, you don't have to put one plant per tire. Like on these sugar snaps here, these dragon snap peas, and you can see they're already in bloom. These are ready to be eaten. So I'll come back out here and pick some of the big ones and make a salad or something tomorrow or tonight. These are early spring, and you don't have to plant just one per. In this particular one, we have 4 or 5. You can see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, there's 4 plants in each one of these. And with the tires, you just go through and you pick these weeds out. And these weeds are you know, getting up there. You know that you don't want to pick the plant, but you can see them down in there. You just pick them out, get rid of them. It's simple. Easier to do this than anything else. Strawberries, healthy strawberry plant. We picked all these out of here the other day, but they just do wonderful. So that's what you want to do as far as just a small garden at your house. Get some recycled tires, fill them with dirt, put a plastic bag down in there, poke some holes, and you know, just do what we do. And until next time, it's Keith with the 2Guys How2s, and we'll show you some stuff once the garden really starts popping here in about a month or so. And you know, like us, love us, share us around on here. Views, the more views, the better. And that's what keeps us going and keeps us inspired. So until next time, Keith with the 2Guys How2, and I'm out.
I'm not a pig, I'm a lawyer.